sometime. It's Revolution Weekend. It's their world. We're just living it, folks. So, very excited to do something different today. Because today I am doing a little live stream, something I don't do a lot, and I'm excited to do it. You know, there was a weird point last year and probably the year before that, even there near the end of that, where I did only live on YouTube episodes, which I don't know in hindsight what the fuck I was thinking. Like, nobody was really asking for it. You know, it was one of those things where sometimes when you do podcasts and all that stuff, you sort of shoot a little early on things because you think that you have the ability to do it. And basically, I did not understand that I did not have enough of a fan base to do live episodes every week. And it just sort of, you know, to be really honest, made me fucking sad. What's up, Neon Ghost, in the chat? Sicko's, you know, head general, in fact, I would say. He's part of the upper echelon. If there's an upper echelon to the Sickos Club, it's absolutely at the top. Neon Ghost is up there. Brett Michelle's up there. Eye Blades in a Box up there. There's some people up there. But either way, yeah, I did live shows only, and it sucked. And I wasn't good, and I really wasn't prepared to do it either, which was fucking hilarious. But I am putting those out, by the way, on the audio only feed, which if I was actually, you know, I just was talking about how I wasn't prepared. I'm not prepared now because I should have had the link to that on the screen. I don't. And honestly, at this point, you know, link in bio. I'll put it that way. That's how we're rocking it today. So, yeah, I thought it would be fun to do sort of a, you know, just a little side hustle, if you will, that isn't the podcast, so I don't have to really like worry about it. I will be honest, I haven't done anything live. Fuck. In a long time, folks. Months. Like I said, I think if you go back into, you know, my vast history of doing the podcast on this YouTube channel, which is like not that long. I think the last live only one I did was, I think, 78, and that was like around Survivor Series. So it's been a long time, and that was a whole different show back then, guys. That was a whole different animal. No, I don't honor you, Neon. It's reality, buddy. You created a great place for people to go online that just love wrestling, that don't want the hassle of like having to constantly like, you know, re-troll the trolls, you know what I mean? Or just fucking react to shit that who even cares? That's huge. But either way, we are here for two specific reasons. And the first reason is AEW Collision tonight. And you know, the thing about AEW that I love the most is the fact that they never take days off, especially as of late. I really think ever since they've gotten on Max, they absolutely have changed the game, and they've changed up what they do now. Every show every week means something. They make it mean something. And I think that's so fucking cool, man. And tonight is no different because it's all gas. No breaks tonight. We get, of course, and I'm going in order of what I think the card will be. I'm sure I'll be wrong because TK loves to throw a fucking wrench in the gears on what we expect. And that's why we love AEW, especially in 2025. But I think we start with the Cope promo tonight. I think he's going to come out. He's going to be nuts. He's, you know, maybe even going to be a little cocky. And I don't know if some chicanery happens. He gets his ass beat. I could see it, honestly. I think it should happen. But either way, he's gonna come out. He's gonna cut a good promo. I think we're at the great stretch of this whole thing, and I got to give him credit. Cope has made this fucking Death Riders thing matter at a time where it really needed to matter because it was at the very death of itself. It was not doing things. It was not a good thing. I mean, you can only do the NWO beatdown every week, so many weeks, and you know that was just the thing, and not even just that. When you have on the same television show Will Ospreay's rise to stardom in AEW, it's like, why is this the main event of what we're doing? It feels really disjointed. So it was time for someone like Cope to come in at World's End and and get the job done. And I think he's done a great job with Moxley, and he's always been very vocal about wanting to work him and never doing it one-on-one. He's very excited. Neon Ghost in chat, you think Jay White is going to screw him and join Moxley? You know, here's what I'm going to say. Yes. AKA it's complicated, and I'll get to that in my Revolution thing, because I do have maybe a hot take, and I can't claim it for myself because I saw someone on Blue Sky and I wish I would have saved it. I did not, so I did steal someone's idea. Someone has a great thought on this, and I think they might be right. So yes, Neon, I'm giving you a cliffhanger so you fucking stay. That's what I'm doing. Anywho, Cope, great promo. We all know that's going to happen. I think the opener, though, of openers is Hologram against Dralistico, who, if I'm not wrong, I think Dralistico has not had a singles match in quite some time, but he's dynamic, and I'm very, very interested in this one. I think it's going to fucking tear the house down. Hologram, Dralistico. I mean, Hologram coming back from injury, he's been solid. I like the repackage with this thing. I've said before, I like the color change. I think it looks better. I think the early Hologram definitely kind of maybe was too rough of a draft to have necessarily come out when it did. But either way, we got a really dynamic performer. Hologram has been great when he is healthy. He seems healthy since coming back. That fucking Mortos match was unbelievable. I think they're best, and I think this will fucking tear the house down tonight on Collision, our favorite Saturday night lucha show every fucking week. And then next, I think Kenny comes out. Kenny, by God, Omega. I've loved this change in Omega, and what I mean by a change in Omega is, when I think about it, what makes Kenny better here, because I'll be honest, and this is going to kind of be a diatribe, because I've hated that I've been very low on Kenny Omega at times when people were very high on Kenny Omega. I was one of those fucking crazy people back in the day that really truly believed Okada carried him in those matches, and I will say it now because I'll get to where I'm going. I wasn't sold when he was in New Japan. I wasn't. I knew he was a good wrestler. But to me, I always looked at Okada, Tanahashi, of course, Jay White, even probably by this point, as above him a little bit. I looked at Kenny not in the way I do now, because now, with his vulnerability that he is showing since coming back from the diverticulitis, this is the best Kenny Omega, I think, that we've ever gotten, because he's a veteran. He's a true veteran. And now he's a star. He's a legend. Kenny Omega's in an odd position that he's never been in, because now, not just age-wise, but in experience-wise and importance-wise, he really is the legend. He's like, almost in a weird way, like when Eddie Guerrero got his push. But Kenny got the push before. But we're getting that vulnerability because of the near-death situation, and I love it. His promos are real. His promos are raw. It's not so much of a LOL tongue-in-cheek thing that Kenny did for a while, which I wasn't. It's not that I hated it. I just think Kenny was aware that in New Japan, I don't think he necessarily had to flesh out a deep character. And it's not his fault. I think he just, he let his work speak for him as a character, which worked. It did. But for me, it didn't. Because again, I'm an old school guy, and I grew up with like Crow Sting shit and like Brett and his evolution into a heel anti-American guy. Like that's kind of my shtick, and that's what we're getting out of Kenny Omega now. That promo that he cut about, hey, we're gonna find out. Am I still a top guy, or should I just go home? That's good shit. That makes his match. I mean, I literally have goosebumps talking about it right now. I'm not gonna lie to you people, because it's fucking good shit. It's pro wrestling. Kenny, I think, finally is like, I can do all the spots and I can be the greatest wrestler of all time in ring. I'm gonna add another layer. I'm gonna fucking get deep. I'm gonna get vulnerable. Something that even as a babyface, he always was kind of the killer babyface. He wasn't really ever vulnerable that often, and we get it. And I think it's gonna make this Takeshita match fucking unbelievable Sunday, and I'm very excited about that. Harley fucking Cameron, our favorite. She wrestles tonight. She kills somebody. I assume a local talent. I don't know if we get an angle here though. That's the thing where I'm at with Harley. Who does she work with going forward? Because I don't want her to fall into a place that a lot of the mid card women fall into, where they sort of just get lost for a little bit, and then later they get pulled back in to do a job for the champ. I don't want that. I want us to break that cycle here. I want us to understand that like Harley Cameron's a star for AEW, and she is, and she will be. So I hope that we get a good showing here, and again, hopefully an angle that leads us to the promised land for Harley Cameron, because she fucking deserves it. She's great. Serena Deeb against Momo Watanabe with Mercedes on commentary. This is going to be phenomenal. It won't get the time that I wish it would get. In a perfect world, I would have loved to have but I would love like a 20-minute match out of these two. We're not going to get that, I don't think. But we'll get a great match that Momo wins. I'm weird about the Serena Deeb Queen Aminata situation. I don't know where we go with that, especially now that I feel like, Momo's going to win this match. She has to, really. It's bizarre. And it's one of those things that I wish Tony would sort of think about more. Like Queen Aminata just won a match with Serena's advice. Now Serena might lose to Momo. It's bizarre. Yeah, me too, Neon. Neon saying, I hope we get a slobber knocker from Momo. Yeah, I think we usually do, too. Momo's great. If you watch Stardom even casually, you know that much. So I think with Serena, she's a great wrestler. So I wouldn't be surprised. And then that leads us to the main event of Collision. In my opinion, it should be champion versus champion. Daniel Garcia putting the TNT title up against the ROH Pure Wrestling champion, Lee Moriarty of Shane Taylor Promotions. I hope to God they let these two cook. They should be going 20 plus minutes tonight. I think it's right. I know it's pre-recorded, by the way, for those of you that are like, it already happened, stupid. Yeah, I know that, but I don't look at that, so I'm fresh here. I'm very excited for this. I've always been a big fan of Lee Moriarty. I've always been a fan of Daniel Garcia. I've been very vocal about we need more TNT Championship matches. Tony has listened because we got Adam Cole last week. We're getting this one with Lee Moriarty. This will be a great pure wrestling match. I, for once in AEW history, hope there's some fuckery here. Hope there's a run-in, because I want a TNT Championship match tomorrow night at Revolution, whether it's on 0 Hour or the main show. I think it's right, and I kind of feel like a Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, Adam Cole triple threat might be something that I would be very interested in. So I do kind of hope that it's fuckery again. I know last week we got that as well, but maybe it works out, right? Cole's pissed. It makes sense in storyline that Cole would be so pissed that he's like, you know what? Fuck this. These Shane Taylor Promotions guys. I'm going to fuck Lee Moriarty tonight. in, well, okay. But yeah, I think that is going to be Collision tonight. I'm sure we're going to have other shit, right? You know, maybe a Speedball teaser again. That'd be great. But that leads us to the big show. And that show, of course, is Revolution. And before Revolution occurs, we get the epic trio 0 hour match. Orange Cassidy, Big Boom AJ, Mark Briscoe against Johnny TV and MXM Collection. I expect tips being touched. I expect Orange not really caring a lot. I expect Big Boom AJ to surprise us because he, again, actually has wrestled. And he is, hey, for whatever reason on TikTok and social media, over as shit. And I'm a boomer, guys. I don't get it. But you know what? A lot of you guys get it. So I'm all about it. And Mark Briscoe, I said this in a Discord the other night that I think Mark Briscoe is the most underrated wrestler living today. And I will stand on that business. I think if you think about it, Mark Briscoe has had a great match with every single fucking person he's gotten in the ring with, at the very least one-on-one. Let's break it down. He had a great match with Kyle Fletcher, so much so that they ran it back and it was better than the first one. And it's like, why would that work, right? He had great matches with everybody with the ROH title. He had such a great match with Jericho that they were like, oh fuck, we should actually put the belt on Jericho. And that was the worst thing ever, by the way. I'm not a fan. But either way, that's how good Mark Briscoe is. He convinced Tony, Jericho should have the world title again. So I expect this to be amazing. I'd imagine also that Big Boom AJ gets the win here for that push. And I'm not mad at it, guys. You know what I mean? I understand. I understand the world we live in with social media. I wish a lot of the true boomers in the wrestling industry would understand it, because it's like, dude, it's no different than back in the 90s when we had Will Sasso wrestling Bret Hart in WCW. It's just, dude, you got to try to get mainstream. You got to, you got to spread your wings a little bit. Let it, come on. It's like the other guys. He's a peacock. Let him fly. Some people will not understand that. If the other guy's unbelievable movie. Anyway, TBS Championship, Mercedes Moné defending him against Momo Watanabe. This will be an absolute slobber knocker for sure. This is a certified slobber knocker. This will be great. I think, since really the end of the year last year, Mercedes Moné has been probably the best women's wrestler, right up there with Timeless Toni Storm. Her fucking list of matches she's had in the last 6 months is right there with anybody in the business right now. She is having great matches with thank God, Neon Ghost understanding the classics. You know what, Terry? Peacocks don't fly. And guys, you just got to go watch that movie, okay? But yeah, Mercedes Moné is a peacock, folks. But she does fly, all right? She figured it out. She lost a little weight. Whatever she had to do as a peacock to learn to fly, she did that shit. I think the weight of WWE was a lot of what she shed, and she has been phenomenal. I mean, in Japan, over here. And Momo Watanabe, another one, has been phenomenal in Stardom. A great wrestler. And this will be a great match, and I do expect Mercedes to win that match. I hope we get either a return, something where we get an immediate challenger to Mercedes going forward, because, that was kind of the problem earlier in the year where there wasn't a lot of like her doing a lot of wrestling on TV, and I think that's a disservice. So I expect it to be a classic, just like I expect the AEW tag title match to be so fucking awesome. The Hurt Syndicate defending the world tag titles against the Outrunners. I'm so fucking excited for this. Not ironically, I love the Outrunners. I think they're really good in the ring. Everyone's like focused on how great the gimmick is and everything, but like these guys are fucking good in the ring. They've wrestled So many different people of so many different styles now. They used to be an ROH thing, which means they've worked all these weird indie guys, lucha guys. They know how to do this. And the Hurt Syndicate is as over as any act right now in AEW. I This is where I think I'm going to shock people the most. I think either we get a Bucks return fuckery or somewhere I think the Outrunners leave Revolution AEW World Tag Team Champions. I do. Because I think here's all you got to do. And I wish more companies would think like this. They win the titles here. Everyone's like, oh my God, they're burying the Hurt Syndicate, right? Let everyone think that even. Have them like leave the building pissed. And then on Wednesday, MVP's like, oh, no. We've spoke to our legal team. We're going to get that rematch tonight in the main event. And you just win them back. Give the Outrunners the moment. They're baby faces. They don't need to run with the belts. Just give them the belts. Hurt Syndicate now 2-time champs. Let that be the heel thing even. We're 2-time champs. We're the best. Look at this run we're having. And it's like, you guys just lost the belts. Got them back. Let's do it, guys. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the underdog win here. And I know people are going to think I'm fucking insane. And I am, honestly. But I want it. Let's go, man. I think it's great. Hangman against MJF. Holy shit. This one's great. This one is really a story of the history of AEW so far. You have Hangman, who was the appointed one from day one. Neon Ghost, I really think the Bucks might show up. Nick Jackson been promoting the PPV, and they don't do that often. You're right. They have been all over social media. And why not? You know, I think they should come back. It's in LA. They live super, super close. And it's time, you know. I know a lot of people hate the Bucks, but they are AEW. And I will go on record of saying I think they're the greatest tag team of all time. I really do. I mean, how many tag teams have started and built a fucking company? There's not a lot. There's not a lot. Not major companies anyway. Not television companies. Not a lot. So we're in rarefied air. I mean, we really, really are. And that would be great. And Hangman MJF, same thing, right? These are two guys from day one, literal day one. And like I said, you know, Hangman was the heir apparent of the company. His moment beating Kenny for the world championship, one of the all-timers ever. MJF winning the championship, having the run he had, the legendary title run, also legendary, will always go down in history in AEW. And these two guys, it just feels like it's time, right? Like sometimes guys are just rising at the right time. MJF just was saddled with fucking old JJ, fucking Jeff Jarrett for no fucking reason. So give him Hangman, give him literally the main character of the company, and let him cook. And I think it will cook. Who do I think wins? Ooh. I'm conflicted because if you look at it, either one of them winning is a big deal, and really, even if it went to a draw, it wouldn't probably be the worst thing in the world. However, I do think we will have a winner, and I think it's going to be MJF, and here's why. I think Hangman continually losing big matches helps him. I think he's in a Tommy Dreamer position where almost right now everyone wants to suffer with Hangman. They want to go with Hangman to the ends of the earth at this point. Let them do that. Have MJF fucking just keep winning. You know, get to that world title position. Have Hangman be like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. And then you can have that arc, right? That's kind of been the thing with Hangman. When he beat Kenny, he was as low as he had ever been at that point on AEW television. He was losing matches all over the fucking place. And I think we get that again. And you know, again, Hangman, it also play into that him going to Swerve's locker room. We haven't discussed that in a while. What does that mean? Maybe he falls so far from grace that he reaches out to his most, you know, hated fucking rival of all time. That's pretty good TV to me. So yeah, I expect this thing to be a classic. And here I'm going to really, full disclosure, I have no information. This is all speculation. But when I was looking at a lot of the, Revolution through the years posts this week that AEW was throwing out, I noticed the motif of the reveal of the next AEW signee. It started with Christian Cage in 2021, and then, of course, Swerve in 2022. And it got me thinking, why not keep with that, right? And if they do keep with that, who would I think that they would use? And of course, a lot of people would probably say Speedball, but I kind of disqualified him because I'm like, well, they already gave him a vignette. So that really, I don't think, would be a big enough surprise. But I have heard a lot of people talking about this man ending up in AEW. And I think what a perfect place to introduce Josh Alexander in AEW. Do you really need him to come out and like kill a guy? Maybe just have him come out and sign a contract with Tony Schiavone. I think that might work. It's worked for two guys that are like AEW fucking super guys right now. So I would be really into that. I think it is time. I think we need Josh Alexander in AEW. If he is signed to them, I think it's time. So I'm just sort of throwing that out there, a little speculation, but I do think that would be a really cool moment for Josh Alexander to get a little nod on Revolution. That leads us to the Continental Championship match at Revolution. Kazuchika Okada defending the championship against Brody King. I think this is going to be maybe match of the night in ring because these two guys are so talented and Okada loves to have that different mesh of styles. He used to have great matches with guys like Bad Luck Fale, where you would be like, that doesn't make sense. He had a great match. Are you sure? And then you turn on New Japan World and you're like, that was the best 30-minute match with a fucking weird, huge guy I've ever seen in my life. There you go. I think this won't be any different. Brody King also just is a fucking breed of his own, especially right now. He feels really, really hot. I don't think he gets the Continental title here, though. I think he will get very close because I think the money here is still in Brody and Buddy as a tag team. And this is a fun way to keep Brody alive as Buddy's sort of getting over his ankle or whatever's going on there. But I think this will be great. Like I said, I think it might be match of the night, and that's saying a lot. And I mean, I'm just saying in terms of, if shit goes wrong, because we have a hell of a card, going forward. We're not even like near the end. But either way, I'm very excited for this, and I'm glad that Okada's getting a little bit of a spotlight, and it feels fun, him and fucking Brody. He's such a little shit heel. Speaking of shit heels, Ricochet has really rejuvenated his career in this angle with Swerve Strickland going into Revolution. I mean, I have been very shocked at his transformation as like from just like the little dork guy to like this guy's fucking scary now. Like he might just shank the fuck out of you and take your shit, just like he did to Swerve, just like he did to Prince Nana. And now the stakes are even higher. Number one contendership for the AEW World Championship. I think this is a perfect time for Swerve to re-emerge as the top man in AEW. I think he beats Ricochet. I love Ricochet right now, but he is a dick, Ricochet. And I think it's going to be an all-timer. I think it's going to be great. These two guys really seem to be having a lot of fun together. And, pay-per-view for AEW, especially with top talents like these two guys, it always knocks it out of the park. So I expect this to be special. And again, I expect Swerve to win. And I don't know if necessarily he doesn't go on to Dynasty and win the whole fucking thing and get that world title back. Next, we got to talk about it. The fucking cage match. Holy shit. This has been one of the most insane stories in AEW. The whole Kyle Fletcher turning on Will Ospreay, the getting Mark Davis against his will now, the other guy that fucking Will Ospreay thought he could count on This is classic pro wrestling shit. And right now, Will Ospreay, I mean, whether you love him or you hate him, he is at the very top of AEW right now. And I think this cage match is the perfect place for him, just like with Swerve, to really shoot up into superstar status for AEW. And I think he does that. But while he does that, I do think Kyle Fletcher is going to have the performance of his career here. Because when I think Cage and these two flippy fuckers and these two crazy guys, I'm like, okay, well, this thing's going to be one of the craziest matches I've probably seen in forever. And I expect that. And AEW, they always have that quality of match. Like I said, especially on pay per view. So I don't expect less here, but I do think Will Ospreay gets the win. And I don't know where we go from there. But now we get to the International Championship match, Konosuke Takeshita, Kenny Omega. Oh, man. I mean, I think this will be great. It will be a true test. I think Kenny wasn't kidding in his promo when he said that this will decide if I'm a top guy still or not. And I agree. I think if this is not the best performance maybe in a while, then people will definitely be looking around, but I don't expect that. I think Kenny is ready to go. He's motivated, and I think he will have an all-time match with Konosuke. And I think Kenny gets the title. I think that when I look at everything, I'm like, well, I think the Takeshita title win at first, it's funny. Months ago when he won it, and I believe that was Wrestle Dream when he won the international title, me included, but a lot of people were like, whoa, that kind of feels out of nowhere. That feels random. Like, are they really going to push him? Because up until then, he was just sort of like, oh, this guy's whatever guy. And, he gets the title. And I take a shot with my wife, full disclosure. Either way, he gets the title. And I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't. At the time, the international titles just seemed kind of like a patty cake situation. And he has made it one of the top championships in not only AEW, but in the entire industry right now. His match with Orange Cassidy for that title was unbelievable on Dynamite. Unfucking believable. And I think he's at the point in his career right now where he could get in there with a fucking broom and he could have a great match. And all he's got to do is do that fucking spinning Falcon Arrow and it's over anyway. But I think Kenny wins the fucking belt here. I do. I think, he continues his run as a Grand Slam AEW champion. And it's Kenny, right? I mean, the fucking company was basically built around the guy. For yeah, exactly. Neon saying he thinks Kenny walks out with the gold. Yeah, I think Takeshita goes on to Japan for a little bit. He does have the deal with New Japan. He's the never open weight champion. He still works with DDT, and I think that would be great for him. He can go back home, be a top guy in Japan. I really can see him as IWGP World Champion. If he goes to New Japan and they go, you know what, we're going to do a year run with this guy. Why not? He's that good. I think Kenny gets the international title and we get to a place at All In where perhaps it's him and Okada one more time to unify the Continental and International Championships. Just a thought. Something I'm not the first one to ever think about it, but, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the Hollywood ending. Toni Storm defending her new world championship against Mariah May, the former champion. I feel like I've been talking about this angle forever. But this really has become one of the premier stories in modern wrestling. Not just as in women's shit, not any of that. Not just AEW, anywhere. And I think it makes complete sense. We're getting a no DQ situation with these two. I think they're going to have a complete insane fucking brawl. Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, yes, unify the titles. Kenny gets the AEW Intercontinental title. That actually would be kind of great if Tony was that petty. I really kind of hope he is, to be honest. He should be that petty. Fuck it. Hey, what do you want me to do? I unified the Continental and the International. It's the Intercontinental title now. Fuck, what do you want me to do? New Japan did it. You let them do it. That would be amazing, actually. But yes, Tony Storm, Mariah May. I mean, this is really should be the main event. I think there's a great argument that they should go last. I don't think they do, but I think that it's very, very possible for them to have main evented this thing. And I wouldn't have batted an eye, and I don't know anyone that would have. It's going to be a great brawl. These two, they've proven they'll bleed for this. I'm sure both will. I think Tony retains. I think she continues onward. And Mariah May begins her descent now into complete fucking psychosis. And hey, maybe she ends up the TBS champion. Maybe she goes to ROH, beats Athena for her title. There's a lot of shit. I feel like right now, more than ever, really, in a long time in wrestling, especially AEW, anything's possible. Like, I really wouldn't be shocked if something that wild happened. Either way, this will be great, and I think it's a perfect place, Los Angeles, for this thing to end. It's like they fucking booked this thing on purpose, even though I don't know if necessarily they drug it out this long on purpose, but either way, that leads us to the main event of the evening, Mox versus Cope for the AEW World title. And if you would have told me at the end of World's End, hey, Revolution, these two guys for the world title is going to really excite you, I'll be honest, I would have laughed at that person. I would have said, there's no way. I don't get this. I think it's fucking dumb. But yet, AEW has done a remarkable job of making me really excited for this match. They've made Cope feel like a real plausible guy as world champion. He doesn't feel like an old guy. He doesn't feel like he's less than. That match he had with Yuta last week on fucking Dynamite was killer. He really feels like he is right up there with everybody in AEW. And for Moxley, they've done a great job of him going from, I just kind of get my ghouls to attack everybody and fucking it is what it is, and I'm just kind of a little bitch for the most part, to being a violent, evil man again. And also being a vulnerable, evil man again, which kind of almost makes him scarier. But that's how big Cope feels going into this match. I will say this, though. I expect this to be a great match. I expect it to be solid. I also expect a lot of fuckery because the thing I was talking about earlier, everybody's expecting this to be the moment that Christian Cage cashes in his little fucking clipboard and wins the world title. And I get it because it does make a lot of sense, right? Cope's his former best friend, tag legend, partner, yada yada. He's fucking literally rebranded himself as the next world champion. But what if there's a possibility that the contract in that fucking little clipboard has not yet been signed? And what if Jay White hits old Mox with the Blade Runner, hits Cope with a Blade Runner, Christian runs out, everyone's happy, everyone's guards down, he Blade Runners fucking Christian, he signs it, hands it to the ref, covers whoever, 1, 2, 3. We got a new world champion. What if that happened? And I feel like AEW would do some shit like that. And as a unapologetic Jay White guy, I would fucking love that, to be very honest. Now, with that said, I do think that we basically just get, Cope wins the belt. We're like, holy fuck, Christian comes out. He cashes in his thing. It goes through. He's the new champion. and Jay White lays his ass out, and we get Jay White, Christian Cage, world title, maybe Double or Nothing, maybe Dynasty. It's a beautiful time to be an AEW fan, though, because I feel like there's like literally like 8 guys right now that could be in this main event scene. And that's very good. When I think about like my height as a fan, that was kind of what wrestling was, right? Like when I think about when I was the biggest fan of wrestling, it was like honestly probably 99. And legendarily, the WWF in 99 had more world title changes than any year ever. It was ridiculous. And a lot of them were fucking stupid, right? But it also was simply because they were so over that they had legitimately 8 top guys. And it's like, we gotta fucking give them title runs. All these guys deserve it. I think we're getting to that with AEW. I think, why do we gotta have a guy be world champion for a year every time? I don't think that helps business all the time. I think sometimes it makes sense to have a guy have a little run, have a 2 month stint. You know, it happens in sports all the time. How many teams collapse late in the season? Oh, they're the top team in the fucking world. And then by the end of the year, no one even knows who they are and nobody cares. I think more of that should be going on in wrestling. I think it doesn't hurt anybody. You know, fuck MJF and Hangman aren't even talking about the world championship right now, but they're still 2 of the top guys in AEW forever and ever. So that's kind of where I'm at with the main event. It's like there's a million possibilities and a lot of them are good ones. So at the end of the day, I say this is an all-time weekend for AEW. I think with Collision added on to Revolution tomorrow, this will be a great show. Thank everyone for tuning into this one. Thanks for listening to me fucking rant. Shouts out, of course, to Neon Ghost, the man. And yeah, until next time, you know, maybe don't troll that guy on fucking Twitter or whatever